What's up everybody, welcome back to My Pixel. As always, it's awesome to have you here. Today we're going to make additions to our player's mechanics which will affect the way the character moves and plays. While the possibilities are totally endless here, we'll just take a look at a few changes that you might like to make and how you can go about implementing them. Sound good? Then let's get to it. First up, let's just add the animation for when our player shoots fireballs. So let's get into our player. Jump into the animated sprite and the sprite frames, and we'll just quickly add in an attack animation. Set the speed to 12 frames per second like we have our other one set at. Some of our other ones set it. I think run is set like that, 12 frames per second. Right, so attack will be 12 frames per second also. We'll turn looping off. We don't want it to loop. Then we'll just add in our sprite frames. See, move before, let's see, 1, 2, glowing hands, okay, and then it goes away. Alright, great. Alright, so we have our attack animation. We'll just save that, and then we'll jump into our script. In our script, let's just start off by creating a new variable up here. We'll call this one, let's see, var is attacking equals false. Okay, so we'll get into why we just created this new boolean up here. So our player was pretty overpowered before. He could shoot fireballs as fast as we could press the key on the keyboard. Now, while that's cool in its own right, for this tutorial we're going to try to make our player a little bit less overpowered. So we're going to make it so that you can't shoot another fireball until the attack animation has actually completed. But first, we need to make sure that we can play the attack animation. So let's go ahead and do that. So where we shoot the fireball under this attack or action just press UI focus next. And we're going to change this to. So in here, we're just going to say and is attack is attacking, if I can spell that right, is equal to false. Okay. So basically, if you press the focus next button, right, which is the tab key, and then you're not currently attacking, then you're able to attack again, is what we're going to do. So if you do that, right, then the first thing we want to do is we want to set is attacking equal to true, right? Because now we're attacking, we don't want to be able to attack again. Okay, and then we're going to say animated sprite dot play, and we're going to play our new attack animation that we just created. So in the beginning of our script, the player starts off with the is attacking flag equal to false so that he can attack initially. Now once he attacks right here, we change the is attacking flag set to true so that the player can't attack again until something sets this is attacking variable back to false. So what we're going to do is we're going to use the animation finish signal to set is attacking back to false. So for that, we need to go back into our animated sprite here. Inside of node, and we have our signals. Now we have the animation finish signal. So we're going to select animation finished, click connect, and then we're going to connect that back to our player. Right, the root, the kinematic body that we have up here. So make sure that make function is on, right, not off, right? We want it to make our function. Here's the name of the function it's automatically going to make for us, and we hit connect. Okay, so now we have our function. So we can remove this pass statement, and then inside of here we're just going to type, right, so if the animation is finished, right, we're going to do is attacking equals to false. so that we can attack again. Alright, so let's run our game and see what happens. Okay, so we can attack once, and then he doesn't attack anymore, right? He's in the idle animation. So for one, our attack animation didn't complete, so we never got it set back to false, so we can't attack again. And right, that's one problem. And then two is, why did our attack animation cancel? Now the reason for this is because if we're not pressing left or right, our character will end up playing the idle animation, right? And currently all portions of our code except the attacking portion will completely ignore the fact that our player is attacking. So we need to go in and fix that. Right, so for that, we'll jump back into our player script. And you see right here that, right, if we're not pressing left or right, it's just going to play the idle, right? So once it plays the idle, it's going to cancel out of the attack animation. So we're going to make a few changes to all of these directional inputs here. So let's just start at the top over here. So under UI, action press UI right, we're going to do an if is attacking is equal to false, right? So we only want to do these things if we're not currently attacking. Right, so that's the if statement, and then everything inside of our ifs, or everything that we have under the UI right, is going to be put under the if statement, right? We don't want any of this to happen unless we're not attacking. Okay, so we just highlight the whole block and then we hit tab. We can move it in. We're going to do this same thing for UI left. So if is attacking is equal to false, then we want to do all of these things. Then under else, right, we also have this if on ground over here, right? So we're going to add to this, right? So if on ground and what we had previously, if on ground and is attacking is equal to false. Okay, and then if that's the case, then we want it to play the idle. Also, we're going to have this up, and we don't want to be able to jump in the middle of an attack. So we're going to have to put it there also. Let's copy it over here. Paste. And then we'll indent this whole block. Then we'll go down to where we check the floor. Okay, and then over here, we'll put that conditional statement also again. The if is attacking is equal to false. Okay, and then we'll indent in the rest of our code that we have inside of there. Now, what we did should make sure that nothing can cancel out of the attack animation. So let's run our game and see what we've got. Okay, so we're making improvements here. We see that if we're moving forward at the same time we hit the attack key, we actually end up still moving forward, right? So if we hit the attack key, we can't start moving. But if we're already moving and we hit the attack key, you see he's sliding forward while he's shooting the fireball. Now, well, I guess this looks kind of cool, but this is probably not what you want, so we need to fix that. Also, it might be a little bit hard to see, but if we land on the ground while we're shooting a fireball, we remain still in the attack animation until it finishes, right? Over here, the attack animation is really short, so it's kind of hard to see, and it might not affect you too much. But what we're going to try to do in this case is when he lands on the floor, we want it to immediately cancel out of the attack animation so that he can go on with running or idling or anything like that. So let's jump back into our code. So let's go to where he's shooting the fireball. So the focus next here. Okay, so what we're gonna say here, let's see how we're gonna do this. Okay, so we're gonna say that if he's on the floor, so if is on floor, then we want his velocity.x equal to 0. Okay, so now what this does is, right, when he's attacking, right, if he's already moving forward and you hit the attack button, his velocity is going to be set to his x-axis velocity is going to be set to 0, so he doesn't continue to move while he's in the shooting fireball position. So that solves our first problem. Okay, and now let's go to where he makes contact with the floor. So here, this is what we're going to do. We're going to say if on ground equals false, right? If on ground equals false, this means he was just in the air right before this got checked, right? So if he just came out of the air, right, then we want to set is attacking equal to false, right? So he was just in the air previously. Actually, we got an error here. This should be a double equals. So if he was just in the air previously, when he lands on the ground, stop him from attacking, basically, right? So when is attacking is set to false, then it'll allow the other animations to execute, right? The idle animation, the run animation, or anything else that was waiting for is attacking to be false. Now let's try out our game to see if our changes worked. Okay, so first problem was when we were shooting the fireballs, when we were moving and he shot the fireball, he kept moving. All right, there we go. He stops, right? And then our second problem was when we land on the ground, he doesn't cancel out the attack animation. Again, this is going to be a little bit hard to see if we had a long delay after the attack. Right now, we only have a 4-frame attack animation. If this was a 10-frame attack animation, you'd be able to see it better. But let's try it out. So we'll attack really close to the ground. Right? We see how long the animation is supposed to be. Get really close to the ground, do it. And we'll see as soon as he hits the ground, he gets out of that attack animation. Right? I think you can see it. I can see it. But in any case, that also works, right? So we solved our first and our second problems there. Now, one more change I want to make is to enable the player to have midair control of the character. Right now, once the character attacks, we can no longer move left or right. Right? It's a little bit hard to see, but once he's sitting in the attack animation, right? If he's already moving, he's able to continue down on that path. But if I jump straight up in the air and I shoot, I can't move forward anymore. Right, so we have a little bit of control taken away. If you ever played Mega Man X and stuff like that, they allow you to retain control over your character the entire time, right? Whether you're shooting or anything like that, you can always move left and right, and that's pretty common in combat games because they want you to have maximum control of your character and freedom so that, you know, you can move around enemy attacks and things like that. So let's try and make that happen. Okay, so let's get out of here. Now let's go into our inputs for left and right. So we have our right input, and we're checking for if attacking is equal to false. So what we're also going to do here is we're going to say if attacking is equal to false, or, right, the double pipe is an or. You can also type or, right, just like instead of the double and ampersand, you can type and. You can type or, but I'm just used to the double pipe here, so we're going to go with that. So if attacking is equal to false, or is on floor is equal to false. Right, so if is on floor is equal to false, then that means we're up in the air. right? So if we're not attacking, we can easily move left and right. And even if we are attacking, if we're off the floor, then we can easily move left and right. That's what we just did. Okay, and then under that, we're going to do or right over here with this animated sprite. Actually, we don't have to do it to the animated sprite. We need to get the actually no, let's just include that in there. It'll be cleaner that way. So with the animated sprite.play and the flip, and also the this portion of code that moves the position 2D, we're gonna say that we only want this to happen, right? While we want our player to be able to move left and right with velocity, we don't, in the middle of the animation while he's shooting, we don't want him to be able to flip his sprite back and forth and the position 2D to switch back and forth, right? Because that would just be odd and end up looking funny. So what we're going to say is if is attacking is equal to false. Right, so if we're not attacking, right, we're in the air and we're not attacking, then we can feel free to flip our sprite back and forth and to move our position 2D back and forth. Right, so then we'll just tab in this whole block. Okay, so we just did that to the right, so we also need to do the same thing to the left side. So we'll take also this if, right, if is attacking equals false, and if is on floor is equal to false, then do the following, right? And then to make sure that we're not flipping back and forth when we're attacking, we need to put that bit of code in there and then indent our block, right? This error should go away. There we go. Now let's run our game again and then take a look. Okay, so previously if we jumped up in the air and then we started attacking, then left and right wouldn't work anymore. But now we can see it does, right? He's shooting and I'm actually, right after he shoots, I'm pushing backwards. Right after he shoots, I'm pushing forward. Right, so basically now we always have control of our character while he's in the air. See, if he's shooting forward, maybe somebody tries to shoot at me and I want to move back a little bit. Actually, I didn't do it right there. Let's try that again. Right, I can jump forward and then all of a sudden move back. Right, basically no matter what, I always have control of my character. Right, which works out very good for combat style games like the one we're doing here, right? We're shooting enemies eventually, right? We're going to get to the enemies, but we'll eventually be shooting enemies with fireballs. That's combat, and we need maximum control of our player, so now we have it. Now that was a lot of work, but our player now feels more natural. When you add in features, it's not always easy to predict how your changes will affect other portions of your game. Because of this, you should always take things step by step and then test often. The more often you test, the sooner you'll find the bugs, and then you'll be able to fix them early on. If you wait till later on to test and then you find bugs, oftentimes it's harder to fix bugs later on in your game after you've added more features. You're going to have to back out of a lot more things, and it's just not fun. So test often, find your bugs early, and fix them early. Now you can feel free to do more playtesting on what we've created here. Like I said at the beginning of the series, this is a work in progress, and it's totally possible that there are bugs in my code that I just haven't come across yet. So you at home might be playing around and you might say, hey, this doesn't work exactly how it should. Yeah, that's totally possible. So if by chance you do find something, please let me know, and then I can show you how I go about fixing those problems in another episode. So that's going to do it for today. I'd like to thank you all for watching, and I hope this helped you out. If you liked today's video, please give it a like and hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Share this video with a friend and get them hooked on Godot too. I think it's a fantastic game engine, and the more people that use it, the better it's going to get. As always, the project folder for today's episode and all other episodes in this series will be available for download on my Patreon page. You just simply download the zip file, extract the project folder, and you'll have exactly what I've shown in this video. So if you want to check that out and also support the channel, the link is in the description. And with that, we'll call it a day. So thanks again to everybody for watching, and I'll see you in the next one real soon. Take it easy.